Hello and welcome. This is Escaping Leah. We're going to go over chapter 28. It's about Clearwater, right? So Clearwater, Florida is what we're talking about. So basically there's a lot of, I would say, quote unquote, controversy in a way in regards to Clearwater, Florida, right? And it's basically spread about the apostates, like spread through the apostates, right? And the apostates hate that Scientology is so successful. They hate that they were expelled and that they were caught and that they are not a part of this and they can't stop it anymore. So they're just throwing tantrums, and they also get paid for what they're doing too, which makes them even worse in terms of credibility, right? So here it is. I'm going to go ahead and read you a couple of the statements. So this is it. This all really stems from the Church of Scientology owning a couple of buildings in Clearwater, Florida to deliver to their international congregation. That is really all it is about. It is made into something quote unquote big, even though it really isn't big. Leah and her posse have said some pretty gnarly invented stories and statements regarding Clearwater and Scientology. The statements they have made are utterly false and easy to discredit. Now, Mike Rinder didn't actually try to visit his son like a normal person. This is what his son states. Now, you have to understand, the reason why I'm sharing you with this is because I'm showing you how an apostate spins the story. Okay? This is his son, Mike Rinder's son, going out and telling us the story of how Mike Rinder spun the story and how Mike Rinder actually tried to visit him. Okay? Let's just get the truth out there. It's easy for an apostate to lie. It's not easy for them to cover up the truth. So here it is. This is beginning of the quote. So during my cancer treatment, the whole cycle from beginning to end, he did not contact me once. He's talking about his father, Mike Rinder. He didn't offer to help pay off the medical bills. He didn't maybe ensure that I was getting the best treatment we could get. He did nothing. He was not involved at all. So I could have died. He wouldn't have even known. Listen to that. So you got that one statement, right? Where he's talking about his cancer treatment? Yeah. He didn't even reach out to him once. He didn't. He didn't care. He didn't want to. And regardless of what he's saying now, he's trying to cover it up. Just like apostates do. They cover up their crimes. They cover up their wrongdoings because they can't take responsibility and own up to it. So this is continued. I was in the sauna. He was in the sauna. So he was in a sauna doing a service at the church. Okay. And two policemen came into the sauna and said, we need to see you. So the police are talking to Ben, right? So I got up and went out of the sauna. Basically said, your dad is at the front of the building and he wants to see you. He's waiting for you. And for a moment you can think, oh, maybe there's a bit of compassion there or care. But then you think, wait a second. What's the only reason he would be standing in front of the Fort Harrison with a camera crew trying to come and get me, getting the police involved? He's just trying to make himself right. Maybe, or prove a point like, look how bad they treated us, and try to create a fabricated story or something. And I said, I want nothing to do with him. I don't want to talk to him. I don't want to see him. I want nothing to do with him. I'm living my life and I'm figuring it out. And he can live his life and he's on his own with that. I want nothing to do with it. And they said, okay, so you want nothing to do with him? And Ben reiterated, I want nothing to do with him. And then this is what Ben also has to say. He doesn't care about me. He doesn't. If I had died 5 years ago, it would have just been like, shoot, I need another angle now to cause trouble or whatever. I'm perfectly happy with him not knowing anything about me. I don't care. I don't live my life trying to prove something. Doesn't matter to me. Ben Rinder, son of Mike Rinder. Interesting, huh? So that's probably the opposite of what Mike is trying Mike is trying to push at you to believe. You shouldn't believe it, okay? Because Ben would know. Ben is the son. Ben went through the situation. Ben is telling the truth. How I know that is because if you watch that video, there's no variation, there's no nothing. It's just pure truth. This was a case where Mike Rinder, Leah's co-host, tried to stage that the Church of Scientology wouldn't let him see his son. As you can see, Ben was open to talk to him, but when he found out that Mike was in front of the building with cameras, which is basically just, publicity stunt. Mike is totally known for this. So is all the anti-Scientology cult members. He declined that offer. This was the breaking point to even talking. Sad, huh? Clearwater is where Scientology's founder established the area where the religious order would have a stable base on land. This would later be called the Flag Land Base. Named after the flagship Apollo, this was a landmark event and milestone in Scientology, as the Fort Harrison was purchased and made into the official base. Yes, things have definitely changed and more expansion has occurred in Clearwater for the church. The Fort Harrison is now just a Scientology religious retreat, and the Flag Land Base is the flag building that was opened after 30 years of planning, fundraising, and execution in November 2013. So there it is. There's just that. But here's more. Okay, here's just more of the information, because you have to understand this is a worldwide religion. It's international religion. This is the international flag land base. This is it. Okay, so when it established itself in the 70s, it wasn't something that you kind of go, oh, okay, well, there's only going to be a couple of different things that, whatever. When somebody solidifies a base for an international religion, it's kind of like Salt Lake City, okay, to the LDS Church, right? It's kind of like that because it's an international base. It's kind of like, okay, cool, here is Scientology. There it is. So I'm going to read this, right? It says, when operating the base for the best delivery of the counseling and training services of the religion to the international congregation, you're going to need facilities to facilitate the numbers coming to Flag for these services. In fact, they're going to need facilities for lodging, for food, for the weekend activities, their humanitarian efforts, the maintaining the files, maintenance equipment, buildings for their supported humanitarian campaigns, and even a basic public information center for those traveling with a person who's interested in finding out more about Scientology. Yes, I said humanitarian campaigns 2 times in there. It's super important. Yes, the Church of Scientology is also into improving the environment around them so that everyone in Clearwater and the surrounding areas are doing well. They involve themselves in the community meetings and also strategic planning meetings with local businesses and churches. Attending these meetings and with local businesses and churches. Attending these meetings and committees helps the church get better at understanding what is needed and wanted from the community to be able to do better and to facilitate delivering their services to the Scientologists visiting their businesses, as well as the current and growing population of Clearwater and surrounding areas. So if we just take that in for a moment, they are totally for expanding downtown Clearwater. They are. You'll see there are so many different things that they're doing to help charitable organizations there, churches, businesses, parks. I mean, so many different things. In fact, I think the church actually has 3 parks, maybe 4 parks there, open to the community at any given time. See, so that's just one of the facts. There's many others. This is what Scientology really looks at when it involves itself in the community. It doesn't look at the possibility of quote unquote taking over Clearwater. Again, that's another buzzword statement that's being thrown around by the apostates. It just happens. That's how they create what is it? Controversy or something, right? Another publicity stunt. The Church of Scientology would rather just deliver its services to its members and carry on with its aims as an international religion, right? So it's not into any of that. It's not into, taking over Clearwater or whatever the heck the apostates like to state to spin the truth, right? So that they can make more money off of innocent people. This is what L. Ron Hubbard has to say about the aims of Scientology. Okay? A civilization without insanity, without criminals, and without war, where the able can prosper and honest beings can have rights, and where man is free to rise to greater heights, are the aims of Scientology. L. Ron Hubbard, founder of Scientology. As you can see, it does not say taking over a city. It does not say taking over the world. It says a civilization without insanity, without criminals, and without war, where the able can prosper and honest beings can have rights, and where man is free to rise to greater heights, are the aims of Scientology. That's what it says. But of course, this is too big for Leah and her posse to actually grasp. It's way too big. In fact, Scientology actually has its members opening businesses and also supporting local businesses so that Clearwater is benefiting every single year from the amount of money that is being brought into the community each year by Scientologists. Right? These are just a couple of people. There's just two organizations out of many that have been helped by Scientology's supported humanitarian campaigns. This is what it says. This is from April Jones, the founder and president of Saving Our Students Foundation of Tampa Bay. It's what she says. The Way to Happiness is an outstanding program which easily relates to the students and what they encounter in their lives on a daily basis. April Jones. Perfect, right? This is from the superintendent of the Pinellas Regional Juvenile Detention Center. His name's Joseph, right? Joseph Sieber. He says this: representatives from Criminon have been providing life skills courses regarding decision making and how to live a happier life to young people at the Pinellas Regional Juvenile Detention Center in Clearwater, Florida. Their teams of volunteers serve a vital role in helping to support the mission of the department as we continue to provide opportunities for the youth in our care to be successful. There it is, end of quote. That's from Joseph Sieber. So there it is. Okay, you have two organizations, two testimonies to how Clearwater's benefiting, right, and the surrounding areas are benefiting from the church, just being there and supporting everybody. Not even their services, just supporting community initiatives. Okay, so if Scientology were to move out of Clearwater, the businesses would go away. The community would have to pitch in 300 times the money that they already are pitching in just to cover the difference of the Scientologists and also the visitors of the Scientology facilities. I didn't even count the fact that the facilities of the church cost a certain amount to maintain, and that is paid to the city of Clearwater. And therefore, they wouldn't be getting this amount, and their financials are dependent on the church's funds coming in and their members coming for services. Bam. I bet you didn't know that because the apostates don't want to share that fact. But does Scientology really want to purchase all of the buildings in Clearwater? No. If nobody's going to take care of the buildings and it's going to go abandoned, why would somebody who is fond of the community want that? So the Scientologists there are a lot of Scientology investors. Okay, they just invest. Scientologists are from many different backgrounds, many different industries. They're chefs. There's chefs. There's entrepreneurs. There's realtors. There's so many different people, right? And there are definitely investors in Clearwater. Okay, they invest. That's what they do. They love to invest. People have the right to invest, right? So there they are. No, the church didn't buy a bunch of buildings or whatever. There was an article about that from a failed reporter, McDonald's. I call her Tracy McDonald's, right? Because that's what I call her. Because it's like you're getting, writings from the dollar menu, right? It's like the cheap bottom of the barrel type of writings. You know, the corrupt, the corrupt, slimy information, right? But no, Scientologists definitely want um, to make sure that their own community, their own city, is expanding and doing well, and so on and so forth. Otherwise it affects them as well, because that is their community, right? So the people who oppose Scientology for whatever reason or fear them, say taking over Clearwater, will stop every possible way that Scientology will help Clearwater keep its buildings and artifacts and the pieces of history that make the city unique. So no, the Scientologists aren't taking over Clearwater. They're just maintaining their buildings that they have and that they have had, and that Scientologists, they'll do whatever they're going to do. Okay, Scientology does not mandate or control anything that Scientologists do. Okay, when it comes to their business and it comes to their hobbies, they will do what they're going to do. So that whole entire rumor was just started, of course, by a low, failed reporter that works with corrupt people all the time. So of course, they put so much money into this thing to make it such a big story, and it wasn't true. I don't like to use the term, but I will use it. Fake news. All right, so trust me, if someone were keeping an eye on the building, Scientology wouldn't want to purchase the buildings that are historic artifacts in Clearwater. They would let the person who owns it keep it and help that person out only if he or she needs it, right? So the church has some historic buildings. The reason why they got the historic buildings is because they're like, you know what, we need to get a building. What do we do? What do we do? Get the newer one, or do we help Clearwater with the historic one that's abandoned and nobody's going to buy it? If you're really keeping a clear picture on the benefits of that city or your area where you're in, you want to help them, I would totally keep the historic value in. I'd keep that gem of that town. I'd keep it up. I'd salvage it. I'd renovate it. That would just be me, though. And also, in The Way to Happiness by L. Ron Hubbard, it is the precept: safeguard and improve your environment. That is all the Church of Scientology in Clearwater, Florida, is doing. Leah and her posse are making it seem like the World War III is happening, and it isn't at the slightest. Their apostates are making it seem very chaotic, but in actual fact, if you walk through Clearwater or Los Angeles, and specifically near the churches of Scientology, you'll find nothing but peaceful religious services, happy members, and nothing going on but maintenance for their properties and attending community meetings occasionally or when invited. There it is. I'm not going to go into too much detail about that, but read this chapter. Go for it. You're going to love it. Escaping Leah. Get it at exposingcrimes.com. I will probably do even more videos on this topic. I do know that I touch on this topic even further in my other book, The Hidden Agenda. Thanks so much, guys, and I'll see you on chapter 29.